Fastlane Vitality Virtue. In my book, one of the Fastlane virtues is vitality, good health. It's a very short chapter. I have listed a great series of vitality strategies. For example, here is one I've pulled from the book, What Are Your Guidelines to Great Health? I have 3 simple ones. Your life is never as bad as you think it is. It can always be worse. I am amazed by the amount of complaining that people seem to do. Unless you are dead, don't complain. This isn't about working out or doing cardio. This is about doing something. Chances are, if you aren't exercising regularly in any manner, you are living a life of sitting on the couch watching TV, eating at restaurants and just being stagnant. Walking around the block, gardening, traveling and sightseeing are all forms of exercise. It's hard to eat healthy all the time. I can't even do it for more than 3 days in a row before I succumb to the calling of pizza. But people seem to treat every single meal like it's a gift or something you deserve. Newsflash, every meal does not have to taste great. Sometimes you eat just because you have to. When it comes to healthcare in general, make sure it makes sense to you. You have to advocate for yourself. They aren't doing you a favor by seeing you. You are paying them for their time. The act ends when you want it to end. If I have a situation that isn't getting resolved, I generally call my doctor and tell them ahead of time that I am bringing in a list of questions and topics to discuss and for them to plan at least 20 minutes with me. I don't leave until I get my questions answered. One time I actually told my doctor, who kept trying to inch closer to the door to take a seat because I wasn't done. Advocate, advocate, advocate for yourself. Water and protein are also big ones for me. I could go on and on about the dangers of being dehydrated and what a protein deficiency can do to someone. Did you know that dehydration mimics the signs of Alzheimer's in some people, and insufficient protein also has a similar effect? Eating habits are a large part of being healthy. It's not about dieting, changing your eating habits temporarily to achieve a goal. It's about lifestyle change and making smart choices. It's a scientific that calorie-restricted lifestyles cause people to live longer. One of the issues for Americans is that we tend to want huge portions, then finish everything on our plates. We eat more than we need or even want. How many times have you eaten a meal, then sat back and said, I ate too much? Sure, you can switch to diet soda, use light salad dressing, or move to low-carb ketchup, but you are only treating the symptoms and not the issue. Next time you eat dinner, slow down, enjoy each bite, drink some water, and give yourself time to fill up. You might be surprised how satisfied you get without hoovering up the whole plate. SMXB. Slowing down is the key for me. Whenever I am rushing, or God forbid busy, I know I'm going in the wrong direction, and it will lead to something bad. I find being busy is, 95% of the time, being created by doing stuff that doesn't really matter and somehow tricking myself into believing it is important. When I slow down, I can prioritize much better and make healthier choices on every level. Make sure you get adequate sleep or rest. If you become tired and run down, your body is less able to fight off illness. Eat plenty of fresh fruit and vegetables. Drink water instead of soda or juice. Limit your caffeine and alcohol intake. Keep fit. Have a regular walking, jogging or cycling program. Make sure it's an activity you enjoy doing so you are more likely to stick with it. My guidelines for health: don't do everything others tell you to do. First step. Second step is to sleep well and enough for your body to have time to recover. Many people I know start their days 5 a.m. Not good for your health. I rather sleep until I wake by default. That way I know my body has gotten its dose of recovery. Lesson is to listen to your body's signals, not to ignore them. Also, try to stay away from synthetic drugs medicine as much as possible. Unless you really have to take them. You can easily get immune to the drugs, and in most cases they give terrible by-effects that leads to additional drug use that gives even more by-effects. Just look at antibiotics. People have started to become immune to the effects of antibiotics because of overabuse. So instead of helping the body, it is now worthless. When it comes to health, there really is only one answer. If your body says no, then don't. If your body encourages rest, take it. Don't fight it. Vitality and health is just another example of the difference between being reactive versus proactive. Vitality is just accountability in the form of health. It is cause and effect in its purest form. If you think of your body as the vehicle, then vitality is achieved through a combination of preventative and regular maintenance. Fresh fruit, veggies, water, protein and sunshine are all fuel for the body. You neglect what your body needs to run optimally, you can't be surprised by the outcome. Case in point, I have been looking for a workout partner for the past couple of days. I really want to drop about 15 pounds, maybe closer to 20 lol. Anyhow, I posted an ad online earlier in the week looking for a workout partner. I had several people respond, which was really cool. One girl tells me she wants to lose about 60 pounds. So we start talking about how we got here and what we are going to do to change it. The conversation moves from working out to eating habits, and ends up leading to her justifying her poor eating habits by saying that she just ends up eating what her kids eat, which is mac and cheese, bologna, cookies and soda for each meal. My response was to ask why anyone in her house is eating that way 3 times a day, and her reply was, well, who can afford to eat fruits and veggies every day? I mean, really, I was just stunned by her response. I kinda chuckled and asked, well, you know, there's like no getting around that, right? She kinda laughed too and said that she knew that, but that the junk food was just so much cheaper. I asked her if she had ever figured out the true cost of the way she eats. I mean, it's one thing to eat junk food a couple of times a month, but for every meal, geez. So I ask her how much mac and cheese costs. She replies $1.29. I respond, no, how much does it cost? Yes, there is the initial cost of $1.29, but I bet the actual cost is much higher. Think about it, how many medications are you on to counteract your eating and exercise habits? Blood pressure meds, Gas-X, Pepto, laxatives, antidepressants, medication for low sex drive, energy drinks, sleeping pills, Midol for cramps, days missed from work due to being sick, aspirin for headaches, doctor bills, hell, even dentist bills. So my question is, when you total that up, I bet the actual costs is closer to $19.29 a box. So really, how can you afford mac and cheese? We both had a laugh as she agreed. Now, I'm not saying that eating right and exercising is a panacea for all health issues, only just about 97% of them. All problems are best handled before they appear, lol. So what is your vitality worth to you? What is the actual cost of how you live? So basically what you did when she told you that she could not afford, i.e. she's probably struggling and poor like most Americans during a global depression, to eat like you do, was start telling her she'll have bad health and basically die if she doesn't. No tips on how to buy in mass and spend less. No details on healthy foods that don't cost an arm and a leg. Nice. I myself bodybuild and eat very healthy, but I can agree with her on the price of such things and do not agree with the way you handled it. I wouldn't have laughed. I would have hung up on you. What I told her was the truth. When someone tells me they serve fast food to a family of 5 for several meals a day, I make the assumption that they can afford to jump to fruits and veggies on a more frequent basis because they can. Just FYI. We also did talk about frozen fruits and veggies, but I didn't think it was pertinent to the story, so I left it out. So according to your screen name, need money fast, you need money fast. Yet you'll make your health a priority and figure out a way to get fruits and veggies and probably high quality protein etc. into your diet. So how do you do it? Maybe you found farmers markets or food coops or even grow your own. The point is you figured it out and you made it work. The I can't afford healthy food is kinda up there with I don't have time to go work out. Everyone has time, maybe they have to shuffle their schedule or get up an hour earlier, but once you make it a priority you make it happen. The point of my story wasn't that she sucked. The point was that she was only seeing part of the financial equation when her health was on the line. And I wasn't laughing at her or where she is at in her life. I'm not knocking that health-wise I was there too for many years. I drank, smoked, ate what I wanted, etc. My brother suffers with extreme fibromyalgia and who happens to be the healthiest guy I know is the one who pointed what I told to her out to me, and it changed my life. You may have hung up on me, and from the looks of it you've hung up on a lot of advice that has been handed to you on this forum so far. I know that you are in a highly sensitive place right now. I get that. Attacking me or anyone else here isn't going to change your current situation. Take a deep breath and focus more on reading than on posting. Try to leave with some nuggets of info that you can apply to make your life better. Oh, and I suggest you practice a certain level of respect and tact if you disagree with me or anyone else on the forum. From the sound of your other posts, it seems it would serve you well to spend your time here building bridges, not burning them. You completely missed my point. If you're going to speak about someone's negative habits, do so in a fashion that shows them how they can develop positive habits. Otherwise, keep your mouth closed. For instance, rather than saying, "Do you know you're going to die from not eating right? You can't afford it now but you soon will be paying for your deathbed." Why not say, "Okay, you think it is expensive, why not try getting a club card at your local supermarket, buying in bulk, and picking up fish and things like that when it is on sale, then freezing it." That's to the point, factual, and above all it shows concern without sounding like a jack. People on wealth building forums I have been on seem to lack good communication skills. Part of good communication is in knowing how to get your point across without demeaning the other person. As far as all that crap about "I get 2 shots. Come on, this is an internet forum. And in real life I'm a boxer and martial artist, so nothing will happen to me on the physical level either. I guess you have a unique opportunity to show us how good communication skills should be implemented. We are all here to learn, so show us what you got. Lol, you are a piece of work. It doesn't matter what I say because you only read about 20% of it, so I'm not even going to respond as there is no point. You have got to drop the attitude if you are going to get anywhere on this forum or in life. So says the person that doesn't know how to communicate with people that aren't spreading the Robert Kiyosaki get rich by buying my books and spewing one-liners spiel. You live in a fantasy world, and anytime you see anything, i.e. reality, outside of that fantasy world, you don't know how to deal with it. Just like when you spoke with the lady. All you knew how to do was attack her for not understanding how she may have still been to eat health and pay less. Rather than be positive and point out how she could spend close to what she spends and get somewhat healthy meals, you started talking about how she's wrong for not wanting to spend hundreds or thousands on eating healthy. The truth probably was you don't know how to spend less and eat healthy either. But rather than say that, you down her for having a very real problem. Just as I figure people like Kiyosaki aren't wealthy off of real estate, but instead off of the books he sells you telling you to buy real estate. LOL, Jesus, some people. Read what you just said and therein lies the problem. No, it's not. They are similar but not equal. Food costs money. Working out doesn't. I can kneel down anywhere and do push-ups, for free. How much food can I get from the supermarket without paying though? Food has a price, and right now it is extremely high. We have the same trouble in Sweden. Many people will never be able to eat healthy because they never have the money to eat healthy. Unless they grow their own things, but that would require the skill to grow fruits and vegetables. Even if they had the knowledge, few of the interested parties would never invest the time or energy to make it happen. Because of lack of money, few of those who had no interest in investing time or energy, or those who had no time or energy to invest it because of actual lack of it, few of those people would be interested or able to hire help to make this growing thing happen. Lack of money again. So, healthy food is probably something that will be reserved for the more abundant people for a long time to come. Unless someone smart enough could find a way of selling these things cheaper. Great post Fanox 2003. Thank you for your intelligent contribution to the discussion. I developed an easy-to-understand system for this, but it has never been released. In short, it can be described as the calm system. You get out what you put in. A healthy body can never be truly healthy without a forward-thinking attitude. Do you live for today, or do you live for your future? That fine line can become a huge gap. Your focus is your body's focus. I can go a step deeper if you would like, but most people are not interested in the specifics. I must have missed that literature class where keep your mouth closed was a fundamental tenet of good communication. Yay, that's conducive to thoughtful, two-way communication. I don't know where you got your license to talk shit to respected contributors around here, but I won't allow it for long. You might want to post the entire statement if you're going to use it. Second, this is an old post and one of the moderators already handled it. Coming and digging up something that has been settled already while others are trying to move along and forget about it makes you look petty and vindictive. You want me gone? Fine, ban me permanently. There are hundreds of wealth-building forums I can socialize with people on. But I am not going to let you go digging up an old argument, use it to talk slick, and think I won't respond back because you are writing some half-ass book. Got that? Good. Now get lost. The best idea I've seen from you yet. Go urinate your attitude on someone else's board. Lol, is this the same cat that was arguing with Dana somewhere? Yes. No one comes into my house, urinates on the floors, and then tells me to get lost. And then to actually threaten to leave to go to another wealth forum. What a spectacular idea. Get f***ing lost and take your poor ass it's not my fault attitude with ya. I gotta say, arguing with that guy did teach me a couple of lessons, so thank you Mr. Oided Out Gorilla. The lessons being that, A. You can't argue with crazy. B. If someone isn't looking for a solution there is no sense trying to offer one. C. If I'm gonna invest my time and energy into a good argument it had better lead to some rockin' make-up sex. If the possibility of rockin' make-up sex isn't even on the horizon, then arguing isn't really worth it. Well, that certainly explains all the fighting at the B&P, SMX4. I'd like to hear more MTN man. Ding ding roughlol, this and the other thread has been the most entertainment for me in a long time besides any makeup sex. Great story, boxing_smiley. Great climax pun intended. Perhaps, and fitting conclusion, ban 2, or is this just the trailer? Glad I sat down with the popcorn and snacks. Thanks everyone, Yusu_clap. I wrote him a PM earlier telling him that the people here are actually helpful if he gives them the chance. It seems to me like he is carrying a chip on his shoulder from other forums or programs. Even if I disagree with his overall assessment of this forum, I'll give him credit for speaking his mind. I think what ultimately happened is two type of personalities butted heads, then it got ugly. Let's try to see what can be learned. The main reminders I got from this episode are: you are not entitled to act however you want in other people's houses. I'm going to give him just a little bit of high ground credit for trying to articulate the problem. I just saw a failure in executing a resolution. Both sides are guilty on this one. However, there was definitely an antagonist. So what causes slander? It's usually the failure to communicate an idea clearly, which results in frustration. If it's not the failure to communicate the idea, then it's the rejection of the idea that usually leads to a rant. It is very easy to assume that one bad experience means the next one will be identical. The problem with such assumptions is that a person walks into a situation with their guard up automatically. This defensive mentality often leads to the wrong conclusions. Although it's human nature to act this way, one has to try to leave past issues in the past. Speaking to self here, I saw two distinct mindsets here. One seemed to reflect an entitlement mentality which stated that the rich only look after themselves and it's not fair to the little guy. The other mentality was, life is tough, but you can make it if you listen to those who have succeeded. Take your own initiative, accept that life isn't perfect, and make the best with opportunities you have. I was reminded that even in the midst of debate, there are plenty of uninvolved people watching your actions. This should not deter you from speaking your mind. Just make sure you are certain of what you say before you say it. Again, talking to self. It's not my intent to offend with this post, only to offer my viewpoint. Sparlin, I totally agree. One other thing to add to your list. You have little control over anyone, much less yourself. Don't fight it, relax, enjoy the ride. I think you have this wrong. People here are actually helpful if he would give himself the chance. Choice equals consequences. He came in swinging. He ruffled feathers. He shot himself in his own foot. He got himself banned. He didn't give himself a chance. Good clarification. If you look towards the end of the post, I addressed what I think would be a much better mindset for him. Bottom line is that if one goes through life and expects everything to be handed to him, he is willing to make himself vulnerable. He becomes dependent on other people rationing out whatever it is he wants: money, advice, sympathy. On the other hand, if he takes charge of his own life, quits blaming others for mistakes, and lets go of the failures, he just might make it. So yes, I agree, he is responsible for his own actions. Man, I totally missed this thread until today. Had to read it from start to finish. Speed ++ to MJ and Dana for slamming and banning the douchebag. Here's the problem. No pun intended either. If you do start to accumulate, you get a second problem. Being seen as ruthless and not sociable. Even ruffling feathers. The first one is bad. People do not want to give me stuff and I do not intend on working for it either. The second one is not hardly as bad, but you still get a lot of crap for it. I take what I want and others either follow or they don't. It all comes down to, what do we want? Either we like the guys who speak their meaning as they see it or we don't. The thing is, and this is seen in all kinds of groups around the world, as long as people is ruffling feathers elsewhere, then it is okay. When ruffling feathers, even if it is badly needed inside the group, then ruffling feathers is a bad thing. Also, this ruffling feathers thing is okay when done by the premium members of the inside groups, but if the same ruffling feather thing happens and is done by a non-premium member, then he is out or killed. It quickly becomes a one-sided story, true or not true to reality. I think this makes the whole take on the world thing very confusing for many people. I just bring this up to the surface. I would prefer not being another killed messenger. Fanox, are you advocating allowing feather rufflers to stay to keep the culture and viewpoints of the forum fresh? I want to make sure before I shoot the messenger. Smiley eel. Seriously though, I think that is what you are trying to say, and in this circumstance, I would challenge that premise, but I am not certain exactly where you are going with this. We have had many polite disagreements on this forum. Some have ruffled feathers. They have usually been resolved without anyone getting banned. I believe that is because of the maturity of the members. I do find that maturity interesting because we do have a strong group of teens here as well. I think polite disagreements are okay as long as both sides do not get into defensive attack mode. In this case, you had a new person that came in as a nice guy asking for help. He received free, quality assistance from many members. His next move was to read another thread and begin attacking their membership as a whole and even particular. He was asked many times to read a lot more and take time to digest what he read rather than make conclusions based on one thread. He obviously didn't listen. This would be akin to approaching a group of 1,000 people milling around and enjoying each other's company. You get help from one or two of them, then you turn around to face the whole group and begin telling them how they are all wrong and pick on one in particular. What would you expect the response to be? A big group hug? Most groups would tell you to get lost and maybe not so nicely. Appropriate behavior means you do not go into a house as a guest and begin trashing the place. We don't proclaim to be gurus or perfect. I don't think we need someone that can't get their own life together to come in here and attempt to tell us how we should do our thing. The proof of the success of our system is exemplified by the large number of people that join and get good advice versus the number of flame wars and bannings we have had in almost 2 years of being online. I believe that is a great ratio. Cheers. This was going to be my follow-up post. However, it would have only been about 10% as good, and 20% as tactful. For saving me from that. Allowing feather rufflers to stay for the sake of keeping things fresh. People with direct attack modes attacks on members personally that are unjustified for are not likable. But direct attacks have happened many times on this forum and these people have not been banned either. That is confusing, that's all. I have no problem with people attacking me on these forums. That happens all day long, so I am very used to such behavior. It goes with the job of being an entrepreneur, because I just debate back as a means of spinning of new stuff that might be of value to other members to see things from different perspectives for most. It is refreshing even though at first it is not fun. But that's life. I have been called a bullshitter here and I have been called all kinds of things, but I haven't noticed any one of those people using such behavior being banned for it. I find that confusing. No pun intended, just something that needed to be highlighted. And to make it clear, I like this forum a lot, but if some people need to play by the rules of these forums, then everyone needs to play by them. Otherwise it becomes a flop and hence no one will take the rules seriously. I understand that the world is not fair and never ever will be, but I guess fairness need to function if the rules are to be considered seriously. This is positive criticism, nothing negative. Well said Unum, agreed. Fanox makes a point in that in any social circumstance those that express opinions contrary to popular consensus are often ostracized and in turn run out. There is nothing wrong with expressing opinions, even those considered radical to a social element, so long as it's done in a respectful manner. Even then, on a private forum or on private property, the owner has the right to ban contrary views. It may not always be in the best interest of discussion, but it is the owner's right. When a disagreement escalates to the point of character degradation, it is normal and even expected that the instigator be removed. The key distinction is that the difference of philosophy should be heard, not necessarily accepted, but personal attacks shouldn't be tolerated. As for the conquer the world mentality, Fanox, you understand this. You didn't wait and let people tell you what to do and what job to take. You just did it. The fact that you had confidence in your abilities should not make others contemptuous. What I was trying to convey is there is a difference in mindsets between the dependent and the independent. Back to NMF, at least he tried to become independent by starting his business. Unfortunately, he didn't reason with the people here and heed their advice. As a result, he suffered the consequences of his actions. As for the reason for his behavior, I think he is just deeply stressed by financial burdens, which was amplified by his feelings of frustration from failed systems in the past. It's too bad he didn't realize this place. My opinion is the exception rather than the rule. Editorial, typed while permalink number 38 was posted. Missed that content. Sorry Fanox. I would bet that if a complete newbie jumped on and started tearing you new one without rational or tact, then this person would be banned as well. Need Fast Money did not have the experience here to have the right to come at Danu in that way, and did not have the tact to do it in a productive way. Fanox, I agree that there have been times that you have been sideswiped by other members. However, I think there are a couple of differences between the fender benders you and several others have been in and what happened here. For starters, this guy just T-boned me and then demands answers and apologies. The members that have collided with you or others have had a pattern of respectful interaction and have provided this forum with great insight and a valuable perspective prior to their run-ins with other members. Their moments of frustration have quickly and easily passed, and I'm guessing they weren't banned as their contribution far outweighs their brief moments of frustration. And like you, I've come to expect run-ins with other people from time to time, and I can hold my own. I don't mind someone disagreeing with me, and again, like you, I rather enjoy it because it does keep perspective fresh. However, I don't take kindly to people in road rage mode. Need Easy Money came out swinging and he had a piss-poor attitude from the starting gate. He didn't have a pattern of valued contribution or respect, he was just looking for a fight. Regardless, even if he hadn't have attacked me, he would have been banned for his victim mentality within the first week. His road rage just accelerated the inevitable. NFM wasn't banned because of his opinion but the nails and arsenic that the opinion came with. This shouldn't require an explanation. I don't know where you got that from. MJ has always been pretty clear that this forum is not a place for free speech or for people to speak their meaning as they see fit. And everyone acknowledges the fact that this forum isn't about free speech when they agree to the rules when they join. The rules are the basis for any meaningful interaction here, and so far they've worked rather well. Here is where the differences appear to me and a general explanation of how and why people are or are not banned, liked or not liked, etc. Understand that one's morals and values are as important to them as yours are to you. Insert opinions and mindset, among other things, in place of morals and values, but ultimately the application is similar. If in an attempt to communicate, one cannot apply the above concept to what the other person is conveying, they will not be able to gain any credibility. It doesn't matter who is right or wrong. Back on topic, a bodybuilding favorite was recalled today. Scary, I've taken that crap before. This has been a very interesting discussion. But I have a question regarding the original topic of health. I know many people who are battling chronic and terminal illnesses, things like MS, cancer, severe arthritis, blood diseases, etc. These people are doing everything they can just to stay alive and clinging to the hope that, with proper treatment and nutritional requirements, they will be able to function normally again. Is it your opinion that these people might never experience financial freedom and wealth because of the battles they are fighting every day with their health? That those battles are too distracting when trying to reach your goals? I am trying so hard to word this question properly, especially after the discussion of manners on this thread. No attack is intended. Just curious about your point of view and experiences. Or, is there anyone on this forum who is currently dealing with such issues and yet has still found a way to be financial success? I would be most interested in hearing from them and how they worked with their health limitations. It's been a while since I've been on the forum, so, if this issue has been discussed before, please be so kind as to point me in the right direction. Many thanks, SMXB. I'm coming from the view that vitality is a prerequisite to wealth, so take care of yourself and don't sacrifice your health or body for a buck. I see so many young people do things that is a gamble on their health. For example, steroids to increase performance to increase the contract. The millionaire with a cancer diagnosis would gladly give it up for a clean bill of health. My point I carry in the book is that health should come first before money. As they say, most people will gladly destroy their health for wealth and then waste it all trying to return to health. I am no stranger to this battle since I've had my share of health issues recently, albeit much of them I can't control, and no amount of dollar can return my ankles to basketball playing glory. Back in my early 20s I used to take the original ripped fuel with the ephedrine a lot. I'm talking 6 pills a day for probably the better part of 3 straight years. The stuff used to give me a fantastic jolt, and it really did help control my appetite and weight. It also used to make my heart feel like it was pumping out of my chest. Scary stuff. Unfortunately, this was before the negative effects were known all about ephedrine. The problem with these products is they do work to some degree, but what we do to our overall health in the long term as a result of taking them may far exceed the good they do in the short term. Who knows what kind of damage I did to myself? I just hope and pray that my body was young enough to rejuvenate itself once I got smart and stopped taking the stuff. It's funny, as you get a little older, I'm 34 as I write this, you start to really take into consideration what you do to your body. When I was 24 my long-term health wasn't even a thought in my head. But today I think about it constantly. Funny thing is that many people think healthy and fit are the same thing. I had a friend of mine who was a triathlete. He began complaining he could not finish a marathon. My advice at the time was to do high-altitude training to build up his red blood cell count. This guy is a instructor for a community college. He lived fitness, but heredity gave him high cholesterol that was blocking his arteries to his heart. This is why he could not finish a marathon. The same condition for some of us here would prevent us from climbing a set of stairs. Fitness and health are not the same. As for the doctor thing, I am not so sure about them being pill mills. To a great extent a lot are, but there are also a lot of caring doctors out there. My daughter's pediatrician is one of them. If you think you can go on the internet and Google something and 2 hours you are an expert on human anatomy, you are crazy. Those guys go through 8 years of hell before they even think about getting to practice on their own. Now we go on the internet for an hour and question them. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but if you are not comfortable with UMD or do, then get out and find another one. There are good doctors out there. I completely agree. I understand where you're coming from. It sounds like you're talking about the choices people make in order to achieve success or money, or put another way, the sacrifices they're willing to make, such as their health, their families, etc. in order to achieve wealth. In my experience there are 3 different types of choices that affects a person's life. 1. The choices made by the individual. 2. The choices made by the people around them, which, in turn, affects that individual's life. And 3. No choices being made by either the individual or the people around them, but things that cannot be traced to a who or a why, things like unexplained illnesses and other universal causes that can't seem to be quantified. I know this all sounds very philosophical, but I guess my original question referred more to circumstance number 3. People always say, at least you have your health. Well, what if someone, through no fault of his own, doesn't have his health? Would that person, realizing his limitations, still be able to achieve financial success? Or would the course he would need to take to be successful, along with his frequent health setbacks, be incompatible? I do believe, like you, that health, physical, mental, emotional and spiritual, and wealth go hand in hand. But, are there any examples of people who have started with nothing, financially, and managed to achieve their goals while dealing with their health limitations? Personally, I haven't heard of any, but, then again, I don't get out much. If there are any stories of people who have managed to achieve this, I would be most interested in hearing from them. It would be very inspiring. But perhaps that is not the original intention of this thread. Sorry if I got off topic. I am sure you will be fine. Millions of units were sold, and from that supposedly 23 people have reported side effects due to the use of the product. No mention has been made of whether these people were taking more than the maximum 3 recommended per day, and there was no mention of any pre-existing conditions these people may have had. Quite frankly, it may be an overreaction on the behalf of the FDA, which is responsible for destroying a major part of a company's product line. It is technically voluntary recall in response to the 23 reported cases. However, I am sure if the company in question did not recall them on its own accord, the FDA would recall the products without the company's permission required. Just shows even when you think you may be in the driver's seat of the fast lane, there is always someone there who can put the brakes on your fast lane journey real quick. In saying that, you can't really blame the FDA for encouraging the recall. In issuing a recall notice, the FDA appears to be effectively looking out for the public's interest, and the government worker who was in charge of the investigations now has grounds to appeal for a promotion for his diligent work. On the negative side, they might anger a lot of the product's users and destroy a major source of one company's revenue. If they didn't issue a recall and more users of the product had issues, the repercussion would be damning for the FDA, so you can see why it is in the FDA's interest to issue a recall. You are correct, just because you look like a Greek god does not mean you are actually healthy. I mean, you can look healthy and have great muscle definitions, even big muscles, but you can still feel drained of energy inside and also feel tired a lot. I have these periods. I have a fitness body, but I can feel drained of energy even after working out. In my case, the problem is that my body is not taking up the necessary energy from the things I eat and drink. I eat vitamins, drink herbal drinks, green tea, and I generally eat healthy just to stay in shape. I know that even if you are well defined and have a good-looking body, you can still have a clogged body system. As you said, Eagle, fat in your arteries. You can get fatty arteries because of high stress, for example, and from having bad eating habits, and other areas that can be clogged is your digestive areas. If your digestive areas are clogged, it doesn't matter a thing if you eat healthy, because the digestive areas are not able to use the energy. 3 things needs to be in partnership with each other in order for you to be both fit and healthy: exercise, clean inner body digestive system, no fat in the arteries, etc., and the food and beverages you eat and drink. If you eat and drink unhealthy stuff, then you get a bad digestive and blood system. This directly results in bad exercise habits because you simply have no energy to exercise. If you have no energy, then you have no natural motivation to do what you need to do in order to stay in good shape and health, which means you need self-discipline. A healthy person really do not need self-discipline. They have the energy and interest to stay healthy naturally. They are all linked to each other. Chain reaction. LOL, couple thoughts. 1. Eve is one of my top 5 favorite comedian of all time too. I just figured out a good reason to start a fight with Jill 3, in all seriousness, which is sometimes a stretch for me. The dietary stuff is huge. It is not expensive to eat well, especially when you figure in the cost of not doing so. Example, I've been in family court hell since the ex got out of the mental hospital, came to my house and got arrested for assaulting me. When that happened, I was up to 5 miles a day of walking or running, was eating perfectly, and my health and body composition were really coming into focus. So what happened? I was stressed. I drank too little water, ate too much junk, and did not sleep enough. Typical incorrect stress reaction, which landed my ass in the ER with a kidney stone. Ever tried a kidney stone? The pain is so bad it causes vomiting, uncontrollable vomiting. And I don't just mean the good old-fashioned drank the whole bottle and then ate the worm vomiting either. Blood vessels in my freaking eyeballs broke from the force of it, so I looked like some sort of demonic asteroid pissing monster. A few months later, I drink a gallon of water minimum every day. I'm eating very clean chicken breasts, fish, veggies from my garden, salads. All things costing less than a double whopper and fries with a beer, and wow, I am sleeping better. The USPS is no longer planning to add a zip code for my right ass cheek. I am sleeping like a kitten at night, and I am not freaking out over the $5,000 per month in legal bills, having to deal with two courts: plaintiff in family court, victim in criminal assault case, while trying to have a normal life. Watching your health and investing in it is a pain sometimes, but look at what your insurance does not pay when you go get an emergency MRI and spend a few hours on a table with Dilaudid pumping into your fore. You could eat organically raised tenderloin, lobster, salmon, and wash it down with Fiji water all damned day for a year at the cost of one. My dumbass didn't do what I should. Visit. Final thought. Thanks, Dana. Sometimes I forget that whole "you can't argue with crazy" axiom. I put it thusly: never wrestle with a pig. You wind up dirty, smelly, sweaty and bruised, while the pig just kinda enjoys it. Everyone here needs to see the movie Bigger, Stronger, Faster. I guarantee you will like it. Not to be contrary. But okay, that's silly. Whenever someone says they aren't trying to be contrary or an a-hole or whatever, they always say but and dive right in. In any case, this is a tiny number. If you are taking Hydroxycut, you are likely to be ingesting too much protein at the same time. Of those 23 cases, how many were also taking steroids, which are also hell on the liver? I don't know how many people take Hydroxycut, but I used to, and it is on the shelf of every grocery store, or was. Now if you go into those same stores and look 4 aisles over, you will find the beer and wine section. Alcohol caused around 23,000 deaths due to liver failure in 2006, first stats I found, and you don't see the FDA shutting down the alcohol industry. Good thing. If they try that crap, they better get our guns first. The FDA and Congress have always exhibited minor hysteria over anything bodybuilding related. I am sure one quick walk through the Senate locker room would explain their disdain for fit people. 23? I'm betting that is not statistically significant. I'd bet there are at least 1,000 people out there who have overused Hydroxycut at the same time they are overusing Clomidant test and a host of other goodies. I believe in some very few really bodybuilding supplements, as most just generate expensive pee, but make no mistake. There is no shortage of 3 is good, so 6 must be twice as good mindsets in the average gym. Just disagreeing with the premise here, not trying to be disagreeable. Don't want Dana kicking my ass.